Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, ISIS claims beheading of another journalist. Then, the border is wide open as a terror attack is imminent. And the secrets behind the celebrity sex hack. That's next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
All you had to do was get into the cloud, search by their names, find their accounts, and download it.
ISIS has reportedly released a video showing the second beheading of a U.S. hostage, journalist Steven Sotloff. The video reportedly warns the government to back off from the evil alliance of America against the Islamic State. The video ends threatening the life of British journalist captive David Haines. There was no immediate confirmation of this video. However, ISIS did tweet out to some of its followers an apology letter saying that the video had been released prior to them giving the go-ahead. I don't know if that means they were still working on some snazzy editing techniques for this video. Some people thought the first video looked fake, so ISIS has apparently tried to improve the look of their video with this second beheading captured on film now. To me, it's just more horrendous and bringing the threat of ISIS into our collective consciousness. This is at the top of Drudge now. Missing jetliners raise fears of 9/11 style attacks. Following the takeover of Tripoli International Airport in late August, Islamist militias in Libya took control of nearly a dozen commercial jetliners, and Western intelligence agencies have issued a warning that the jets could be used in terrorist attacks across North Africa. They've also included a warning that one or more of the aircraft could be used in an attack later this month on the date marking the anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attacks. Now, for all of you who are really into numbers, this has been floating around for a few weeks now, but today it is 9 days before September 11th, and there were 11 jetliners supposedly taken control of by the Islamic militia. So this is, of course, just all getting it really embedded in our collective consciousness. Of course, they're using those same numbers and imagery. But if ISIS is really wanting to use this video and all of this as a threat to get the government to step off, it's not working. And in fact, this propaganda video is actually helping to raise public support for going to war in Syria and in the region where ISIS is now taking control. Their war propaganda is working. Now a large majority of Americans want military action in Syria. This is a complete turnaround on the attitudes of 1 year ago. A YouGov poll released this week found that 4 times as many Americans now support U.S.-led military action than oppose it. Now, never mind that the government was proposing airstrikes to aid the rebels that it was arming in Syria just last year. Now, any U.S. military action in Syria is going to be sold on this exact opposite reasoning. Militant Islamic rebels are taking over the country. So you'll recall that last year, when news of the missing journalist James Foley was first reported, his kidnapping was blamed on the Assad regime. This is a CNN article. They were saying he was most likely abducted by a pro-regime militia group and turned over to Syrian government forces. They kept repeating, "We have multiple independent reports from very credible confidential sources. Jim is now being held by the Syrian government." His brother Michael Foley says he learned from highly credible sources that the Syrian government is holding him right now. He wouldn't elaborate. But of course, now we know that that was not the case. But the facts don't matter in this. It's back to getting the public to go ahead and be okay with going to war in Syria, pushing it once again back onto Syria. Now, while the government is going to be using the James Foley video and no doubt this second video to gear support for war in the Middle East, the feds are completely ignoring the threat that ISIS poses at the U.S. border. Of course, that's going to counter their, trying to pass sweeping immigration reform, so that they don't even want to talk about it. Now, Friday, Judicial Watch released a bulletin saying that investigators have picked up radio chatter saying that they were going to be, terrorist groups are going to be carrying out an attack on the border. And then separately, Breitbart also confirmed that it had obtained a document from state officials warning of a potential ISIS attack. Fort Bliss, which is the American Army post across the border from Juarez, was on high alert against a potential terrorist attack through the Labor Day weekend. Of course, now we know it's going to be going through the September 11th date. Our reporter Joe Biggs will be there tomorrow reporting to find out, is it a hoax? Is it going to be another false flag to take our liberties? Or will indeed it be true? Is there a threat? And in that case, will the Democrats be blamed for keeping the border wide open and inviting everyone in? Now here is Joe Biggs with an update on ISIS at the U.S. border.
I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com, bringing you more updates about U.S.-backed ISIS terrorist group who is now currently operating a certain part of them in Juarez, Mexico. Now, at the end of last week, I talked about how there could be a threat to Fort Bliss because it's in El Paso, right across from Juarez, where this ISIS threat is. To confirm, over the weekend, they did lock down most of the gates. They left open two main gates, the Biggs Gate and the Sergeant Major Gate. And what happened was they only allow people DOD cards, the CAT cards that you get from the Army to come on base. They denied civilian access to those gates, and all vehicles were subject to random search. So anybody going through could get pulled over, mirrors under the car, dogs coming through, because they are taking that threat seriously at Fort Bliss. But right now, a new publication, it's an online magazine by Al-Qaeda called Palestine Betrayal of the Guilty Conscience Al-Malahim. It talks about how you can build a car bomb, how to make IEDs, and it mentions a couple targets. It talks about the Georgia Military College, the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Las Vegas, and once again, Times Square. So these guys aren't playing around. They are really being active. They're trying to get on American soil and start hitting targets. It's a big threat. But the biggest thing to remember, though, is like I've said before, this is a U.S.-backed terrorist group. We funded Al-Qaeda. Look what happened to them. These guys we've trained as well. And with our special forces, with MI6, with military special forces. So, you know, what is our end game for this? What is our government trying to do? You know, another thing that's funny as well, over the weekend, we let one of our compounds in Libya get taken over by an Islamic militant group. And they turned it into a pool party. Someone from the Associated Press walked by and actually filmed it. These guys are jumping off of the second balcony into the pool, doing flips. Looked like a spring break video. You know, right now, the government's hyping up this whole, we're going to be under attack, we're going to be under attack. Meanwhile, they're just letting them take places like this. They're not trying to stop it. You know, our borders are left wide open. Who's going to stop them from coming in when we have all the people pulled away who are supposed to protect it? What is the government trying to do with this? But stay tuned. Over the time, we're going to continue bringing you updates as they happen. I'm going to head to El Paso and see what's going on with the situation down there with ISIS and the threat at our southern borders. Once again, I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste. Tastes like Austin water?
Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.